Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Jumpstart to Farm Food Safety presentation. We're going to tell you all about the program. We're so excited that you signed up to be in the webinar. I'm Mary Saucier-Choate. I'm from the University of New Hampshire. I'm a food safety field specialist. Go ahead, Hob, and why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Hob Machado. I work here for the University of Maine Corrective Extension. I'm an extension faculty with tasked with helping the farms and other food business around the state regarding their food science needs. I tend to focus a little bit more on food safety, but I help anyone involved with food with anything they need regarding food science. And then we have Jason Bolton that is online as well, if he wants to briefly introduce himself.
Sure, Jason Bolton, Food Safety Specialist, Program Administrator for Cooperative Extension, and also the Academic Director and Area Coordinator of the Innovation Program in the Maine Business School. And it's good to see everyone.
Yeah, so that's who your team is for folks who participate in the Jumpstart program. So today's presentation is going to be informal. Hob and I have been working especially hard on the presentation to let you know about what's going on and how we can work with you over the 3 years of the program. So we know, and you know even better than us, that farming is hard work, and we're so excited that we can help with the food safety parts. That's what our goal is. So this is the Jumpstart website. This is the resources page, and you can find all sorts of resources around farm food safety here. You can see their staff training, wildlife and domestic animal intrusion and how to handle that, soil safety, water safety, post-harvest sanitation, and documentation. These are the kind of things that we're hoping, if you need help with, that we can help with. So we feel that if you participate in the program, you're going to save time, money, and energy by working one-on-one with us. And I want to apologize ahead of time. I'm having a fun problem with my meeting controls, throwing black bars up on the screen. So periodically I'll have to stop and clear them like I just did. Okay, saving time, money, and energy working with us. The goal is to complete all or sections of your farm food safety plan by working with us. And why? Why would you consider a farm food safety plan? We're going to get into that in heavy detail, but the main thing is a risk analysis of your farm, a food safety risk analysis, followed by the risk reduction plan. That's what a farm food safety plan is. So each food safety concern that we work on together and document becomes part of your unique farm food safety plan. And that's part of the benefit of working with us. It's going to be completely unique to your farms. Every single farm is different. You have different resources, you have different situation, different sizes. And I put these binders here on the slide, but not to say, so you're going to do it and you put it in a book and then that's the end of it. It's really, these are going to be living documents that you and your staff work with all the time, like SOPs and things like that. So just so you know, we want to be really clear, it's a farm food safety plan is not required, even if you're a farm that's fully covered by the FSMA regulations, not necessary. However, really beneficial to have one in place. First of all, it can help you manage the food safety risks that are on your farm. That's really important. It can improve the quality and shelf life of your produce. Having a farm food safety plan, the same things you're doing to improve food safety are going to help improve the quality and shelf life of your produce. It can improve produce handling efficiency, right? SOPs are like a recipe that everyone follows when they're handling the produce, so you know everyone will be doing it in a similar way. Big deal is it makes a third-party audit quicker and easier, because with a farm food safety plan, you've already done what an audit is going to be looking for, right? They're going to be looking for what are you doing around managing these risks. And this can help you if you're doing some or all of a farm food safety plan. You're going to make a third-party audit or grant application easier. And then, you know, that thing we hate to mention, but if on the really unlikely chance there was an outbreak or recall, having your farm food safety plan in place is going to be much less stressful for you. So your farm, and by the way, Hob, you can jump in anytime you want. I know I'm doing a great job, but when we practiced this, we were going back and forth because Hob has a lot of big stuff to say.
No, yeah. Something just to add is, and again, as we said, this was going to be informal. it's not the farm food safety plan on your shelf that is going to make your produce of more quality, extend the shelf life, or more safe. Of course, is going to be you put into practice that, but it's way easier to put into practice something that you have a plan for. Then, right, a lot of people are very good on winging it and just keeping on top of everything. A lot of people are good on doing that. Farmers are usually multitaskers, which is excellent, but still, it could make your life easier by having things organized. And I would say it worked, winging it and doing it by yourself, just memorizing everything when you are at one size. But if you start growing and if you think about growing, a document like a farm food safety plan, having things organized would help it a lot for you. So yeah.
Right, and it'll be as simple or complex as your farm and how you want to make it. So so much depends on your farm and on your personality, how you want to make this plan. So it's got to be, again, unique to you. So what would a farm food safety plan look like? Well, it can include these things, like a farm description and map. Now, this is especially helpful for if you're a very small farm and you're starting to go into different farmers markets. They might want to see your farm description, which is explaining what kind of crops you grow, where you're located, what's around you, and other parcels of land. So this can help you with that. It can include SOPs, how you're training people to handle things. What are your standard operating procedures? Monitoring records, really powerful way to make sure that what you're planned is actually happening and happening in the right way. Training documentation, which inspectors look for, although many of you will not be inspected, but it's just still good to have training, and then the recall plan. All right, so the program, the Jumpstart program, of us coming out to your farm, working closely with you, we're going to give preference to small and medium-sized farms that are not fully covered by FSMA. And Hob, do you want to explain more about the sales we're looking?
Yes, and also the way we kind of organized this was, and we have language regarding that on the proposal we wrote. And to go a little bit back and just tell a story about how this idea came about. When we wrote this grant, one of the things we always tell, if you are here because you took one of our food safety training through Maine, we usually tell people like, hey, we work for Extension. We are a resource for you. You can send us an email, give us a call anytime you want. And that's still true. But we always tell people, especially for the folks more on the processing side, like, hey, if you need help with your food safety plan, we can help you. If you send us some questions, some pointed questions, right? Like, oh, I'm stuck on this part. We can always help with that. But we cannot write the food safety plan for you, right? We are not a private consultant working just for your business, your farm, or your company or something like that. And it always bothered me a little bit because sometimes we do want to help a little bit more, but to be fair, we don't want to help one farm and then do not help another one because we don't have time. So we usually don't do as much hand-holding one-on-one time with individual farmers because there's only so much of us working in Extension. But then I realized that the problem for that was because we need to serve the entire state. So I was like, well, maybe I'll write a grant to buy my time or someone else's time and actually justify, no, we are going to get a specific amount of farmers and we are going to help them a lot more, like hands-on, holding hands, going through the process, one-on-one. And that's what we did. So we wrote this grant to help 30 farms from each state, 30 from Maine, 30 from New Hampshire, over the course of 3 years. So it's 10 farms per state per year, where we are going to give you a 1 season long or 1 year long of very close technical assistance. And then this grant is kind of buying our portion of that time, so we can justify for the state legislation if they ever ask, right, hey, you guys are supposed to be helping everyone, why are you helping so much this specific farm as well? Because we wrote a grant specifically for that and we got the money to do it. So that's a little bit of the story of how this idea came about and why maybe you heard us say before that we can't help you so much, but now we will. It's because of this program. So, but when we wrote it, we wanted to help people who needed the most, which were like the smallest farms we have. So we kind of wrote into the grant that we would give preference to small farms below $250,000 of sales of all foods you have, and which is probably most of the farms, at least here in Maine. But then we have the medium farm between 250 and 500, and then large farms over 500. So we will give preference, and it's also going to be a first come, first served. After we finish this webinar, you are going to get an email with the instructions about how to apply, and then that's going to be first come, first served. But if we get over 30 people, we are going to then go from the smallest to the largest and exclude the largest farms to try to help the smallest farms first. But again, that doesn't mean that if you don't get into the program, we will not help you at all. We will keep help you as much as we would help at any time. If you give us a call, an email, or even ask for a visit, we definitely can do that. But for the farms that get into the program, that get accepted, we are going to help you a little bit more for 1 year, one of these 3 years of the program. So that's kind of the spiel about how this is going to play out.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, Hob. So once you sign up for the program and are qualified for participation, like we said, small and medium farms will get first dibs. And also logistics, like if we have 2 farms that are not that far from each other and they want to see us at the same time or in the similar season, we'll probably do those together as opposed to, driving as far away from each other as we can, just to save resources. So we'll reach out to you to set up the time to visit. Now on the application site that you'll get a link to after we're done here, you'll get asked some questions like about the size of your farm as far as sales go, as well as when you farm and what you farm. And so based on all that, and when you want us to come. So we'll reach out to you to set up a time to visit in person. That's our preferred way, is to visit in person, because that's how we're going to be able to see what's going on. Again, I always talk about us having our food safety goggles on, our farm food safety goggles. You're farmers and you know all about farming, way more than Hob and I know. But we know about food safety because we're thinking about it all the time. So we may, just in a walk around the farm, see things that didn't jump out at you, but that might jump out at us, and we can help identify those things with you. So we'll set up a time to either in-person visit or start on the phone or by email and then arrange an in-person visit to get an overview of your farm. And what we're going to do is we'll identify and prioritize what are the things you want to work on. So it might be employee health and hygiene training. That's a big one that a lot of folks struggle with. Cleaning and sanitizing, another one that goes right to the top of the list when you're talking to anyone helping farmers or farmers themselves working on farm food safety. It's cleaning and sanitizing is another. Questions you might have about ag water, or soil amendments, questions you might have about how to manage animal crop intrusions, produce handling procedures, or other food safety concerns that you have. So we'll walk around the farm, look at what you're doing now, and see how we can help. So we'll get to work with you to assist with a plan to move forward. Start where you're at and we move forward. So we'll share resources, say like SOP templates, or even maybe help you figure out how to write your first SOP if you haven't done that before, or improve it. We'll share our technical expertise. And it's not just Hob and I. We have, as you also have access to all of the extension experts in the country, right? To as if we don't know something, we can get that technical expertise and share it with you. But here's the key thing here. You'll implement food safety changes, right? As Hob said, we're not consultants that are going to live at your farm and do stuff like that, but we will work with you closely to help you implement those food safety changes. Anything you want to add there, Hob?
No, I was just going to say, as an example, you will still have access to everyone in extension, of course, but Dr. Bolton that is here is someone that is participating in the project. He has a lot of expertise, as an example, with facility design. So if you have any questions about that, we can bring those back home, chat with him. Me and Mary will be probably more involved in visiting the farms, but we will be a very good link for you guys with the entire extension team that you might not know, to maybe solve some of the questions that might arrive. And well, we'll be there. Maybe you have a question that is not necessarily food safety. And of course, we will be we will help as much as we can. But the idea is we help you, you implement those changes, and we kind of go back and forth, because it's not going to be, we will help you for 1 year, very close related, right? So we can start working maybe even before the season starts, maybe with some ideas. We could write some SOPs, then we make a visit, but it's going to be a full year of back and forth, improving a little bit better, getting feedback, maybe changing here, and hopefully by the end of that year, whatever you are going to be better regarding food safety.
Right. So, like Hobbs said, it's going to be sort of a back and forth. So you're going to make some changes, we hope. We'll document them, and then you'll provide feedback on them. Like, say we try a new way to train your staff, try something new there, and you'll let us know, did that work? Did people start doing things correctly? Did it not work? Do we need to get back and rethink how we're doing this? So we want to make it real, and we want to make it really helpful. We don't want to just lay on something like, this is the thing that you should do from somewhere else. We want to make it very, very unique to your firm. So we'll go back and forth and tweak it as needed, help you to tweak it as needed. And here's a little Benny. We're so excited. As part of the grant, we made sure we got some resources to share with folks who go to the effort of participating in the program. It's a little something, but everyone who participates, who signs up to be a farm that we visit and work with, will receive a farm food safety tool to assist them with their project. So depending on what we identify as the thing we want to work on, it'll vary. The tool will vary. We have $50. I mean, it's not much, but if we gave you $50, you would get less than that, because then it would be taxable, and it's just a real headache to get the money. So we thought, let's give them something actually helpful. So it doesn't have to be any of these 4 things, but if we think, maybe clipboards is what they need, or maybe I don't know, something else that is in that price range, we'd be able to help. So just as a little Benny for signing up. Okay, so let's talk more about what we're doing, what we hope to do with you. So we're looking at the any kind of food safety problems, how can we fix it, and then work with you to solve it. So things that you might want to identify and assess how it is. Location of adjacent water and land activities, right, that might represent risk. This is something really good to identify on your farm map. And if there are concerns, how are you going to address them? How can we mitigate concerns? Worker training programs and hygiene facilities, looking at how those are working right now. Are they adequate? Are they maintained correctly? Field crop contamination risk from animals. That can be something, if you haven't thought about it, something we can help with. You have to manage it. And again, there's no like hard and fast rule, like this is how you do this all the time. We'll look at what the problem is and what will work in your situation. Look at the practices you're using to grow, harvest, pack, or hold produce, and look at the tools and equipment you're using. So all these things, again, you know how to use these tools, use these practices to grow produce fantastically. But what we can do is look at how to make it safer if needed. Also, looking at the use of water and manure in crop production, we can help with any questions you have about that to make that safer. So then we'll look at what can we do to reduce risk. So we probably want to address the risks that are most likely to have the biggest impact on produce safety. Something that's affecting everything, like water would affect everything, and so forth. Taking actions to prevent contamination, right? That's clear. We might have to modify current practices, might need additional training for farm staff. Some changes may require capital. We don't have capital to give you. However, some don't require any capital at all. Some might be a limited investment. And Hob, you said something interesting when we were going over this before. Just identifying like this is something I need to start thinking about buying or getting a loan for or saving for. That might be what we identify this time around as far as equipment goes. And again, of course, you may already be doing things right. You might be doing everything right. We might just walk around and say, fantastic, great, you're doing it, okay, we're done here. And that would be great. But some folks might have questions or sticking places, and that's where we can be especially helpful. So this is kind of redundant. I'm sure everyone knows what a standard operating procedure is, a document defining how to complete a task. But this is a training tool that if you don't have in place and you have new employees every season or folks you want to make sure everyone's on the same page, this can help with that. Step-by-step instructions to make sure even a new person can follow the instructions and do it correctly, right? So say for cleaning and sanitizing, they definitely would want to follow an SOP. You do not want staff who sees the bleach bottle and sees the bucket and does the glug, glug, glug method. Oh, it smells like bleach. Okay, we're done. Let's get working on it. That would be a really wrong way to mix sanitizer. We can talk to you about the right way. It's a very tiny amount of bleach you need in water to sanitize something. Too much actually leaves a residue. It can like destroy things that it touches. For example, I had these folks that were using coolers to bring their stuff to market, plastic coolers, and they were sanitizing them with the glug, glug, glug method of sanitizer strength. And they were just deteriorating over time. And I asked them, they said, what else can I use besides bleach? Bleach seems to wreck my containers. And I was like, well, how do you measure it? And essentially it was the glug, glug, glug method. So it's a way to save money because you're not destroying your plastic totes and things that you're washing if you know how to measure sanitize correctly. That's just a little example. But an SOP, if everyone has an SOP to follow when they're mixing up sanitizer, that can like just nip that baby in the bud and that won't happen. So an SOP would include, where do you find, where's the bleach, where's the measuring spoons, where's the bucket you use, where's the scrub things that you use. Then you'd want to, have an SOP that says how often do we clean and sanitize this and what records are needed to document it.
Yeah, we wanted to have it there for sure and mention, because if you don't have any SOPs, I'm pretty sure one of the outcomes of participating in this is going to have at least a couple of those, because we food safety folks, we really like those because they make our life so much easier. And almost everyone that I know, once they start using, they recognize that. I understand people who right now have zero paperwork, which is very rare, but could happen. So there's a resistance to start having to do that extra work of having paperwork. But I can see that's one of the few ways forward with improving our food safety in whatever level you are. So we wanted to have it there because we want to make sure that you will still applying for this program after hearing that we are going to be asking you probably to write some SOPs. So yeah, and we'll work with you. It's not like we're going to say here, absolutely,
go do it. We'll definitely work with you on making really ones that will work, that will be followed. And it doesn't have to, it can be like a written piece of paper with step 1, step 2, step 3, but I've seen great SOPs that are a checklist, for cleaning equipment. So it really depends on what that you're going to use and your staff is going to find helpful and follow. So again, this documentation that we're talking about, SOPs and other kinds of documentation, can help with training, obviously. And again, having this kind of information in your farm food safety plan can increase the potential for loan and grant approvals, because people will be like, wow, they are a professional. They're not just playing at farming. They are doing it for real. Look at this documentation they have of what they're doing for farm food safety. And of course, third-party certifiers, it shows them too that you're organized and professional. So we talked a little about monitoring, and that's important part of everything you're doing. Again, if you take all the stuff we're talking about, all the solutions, SOPs, and put them in a book and leave them in a room, that's not going to really be helpful. Because you're doing a lot of work to develop these systems. Now you want to monitor it to make sure that things are getting cleaned and sanitized properly, that produce is getting handled properly. So you want to monitor it on a schedule or during a specific activity, like during harvest. You want someone to be there to monitor the problems you identified and the solutions you identified. Right, verifies that practices are being completed properly and helps identify problems right before they start impacting safety, like looking at if you get a water test, you want to look at that and see what it's telling you. Is it telling you everything is fine, or is it telling you that, wow, there's starting to be a problem, I need to deal with this? Evidence of animal intrusion, you want to make sure your staff knows to be looking for this, so then you can walk it off and make sure everyone knows how to handle it, to not pick up things that are around where there's animal scat. So if there's animal scat, there's animal urine, and that you want to not pick anything in that area. It doesn't have to be like 2 acres, but we're just talking about trying to make a reasonable area where you're not going to pick things that have clear evidence of animal intrusion. Right, and again, like I mentioned, the improper cleaning and sanitizing. So someone cleans and sanitizes with SOP. Now someone needs to monitor that to make sure that it's done correctly. that there wasn't a misunderstanding. So monitoring is important too. Right. Then there's corrective actions. Of course, that's when there's a problem. How can you reduce it? That's not so the problem won't happen again. So that you can have a corrective action in advance, knowing that something might happen someday. Big, unexpected tornado comes along and or a hurricane and spills over your portable toilet. What's your plan in place for correcting that problem? You know, do you already have berms so the spillage is contained, or there's other ways to deal with that. Right, we already talked about animal crop intrusions. We already talked about all this. So, oh yeah, like for example, if you have a porta potty but no one ever goes in and cleans it, that's porta potty is not going to get used very much, and it might even contaminate people instead of helping them keep their hands clean. So, yeah, we can help with all this.
Yeah, and the thing about corrective action, we always tell students, farmers, people from the food industry, when something happens and you are in panic mode, kind of having to figure out what to do right now. Sometimes there's a time component to that is always harder. So if you know there are a couple of types of mistakes or things that could happen at your farm that will require workers to know what to do, and maybe you, the farm owner or the farm manager, might not be accessible right away, right? What could be a couple of things that you would like your workers to know how to deal with in an emergency? So just if you just have that written down as a a corrective action for when this happens, if this, then that, it can save you so much time and so much stress in an already stressing time when something happens. So that's another piece that if you never thought about it and you don't have any corrective action written for things on your farm, we might help you with that. Or even if we cannot come up with one for you to write beforehand, because sometimes things happen that you have no idea that they could happen before, but at least understanding this process and knowing that it's a good idea to write that after it happens and now have it documented for the next time it happens, you know how to deal with it. Those are kind of all parts that what could become your farm food safety plan that we might be able to help you start thinking about, implementing, writing them.
So record keeping, like Hop said, if you're not doing, record keeping doesn't seem like farming. It's not farming, but it's a really important thing, again, to show that you're running a professional farm, that you're documenting what's going on. You're documenting practices, you're documenting the monitoring, you're documenting corrective actions. There are lots of templates available. And again, this is where instead of you going on the web and looking for what you want, we can do that. We can do that. We know about tons of templates, and we can talk to you about what would work for you and find the one that would work for you. Right, because record keeping has to be convenient or it's not going to get done. And this is just a little extra. Record should be dated and signed and initialed by the person who performed the activity, so you can track back if someone has a problem. All right, so we talked about that's all the stuff we can help you with. Sharing your success. So this is a big part of it too. We are expecting you to be successful. We're hoping you to be successful. We're hoping to help you to be successful. So there are a little bit more farm food safety incentives for participants who let us document their success and feedback to share. So what we want to do is either use photos or videos to show what you're doing in a successful food safety practice, or document and share that in a video later, towards the end of the middle to the end of the program of the 3-year period, to let other farmers see that it's not impossible to do these things, to do small or big farm food safety changes to improve farm food safety on your farm. So if you would allow us to videotape or take photographs and put that on in a webinar that we'll have later, we have like $100 for you, not in cash, because again, you wouldn't get, it gets taxed, and it's just ridiculous what comes out of it. So we would have again a $100 tool that would go along with whatever food safety thing makes sense for you, for your needs. So it's not bad.
So for all farmers that apply and get accepted, everyone is going to get one tool. We will help you. We'll help you identify what is one thing around $50 that, with our expertise, we identified just by having that would increase all your work regarding food safety. What would make the biggest difference? So everyone that gets accepted into the program will get that, and then more to the end, well, at the end of your time participating in the program, farmers that are willing to kind of give us some extra feedback, maybe even the year after you did, we might go back and be like, hey, when you participated, this worked so well. Can we make a follow-up video? Can we make a video of you showing the implementation you did because of this project? That one help us, as Mary said, to showcase to other farms how the program is going, because we might use some of the videos from the first year to invite people for the second year. As we guys can see, we have 28 people here today. So we are not going to fill out all of our 30 per state spot. So we will still keep advertising this. So we can use those videos and that feedback to advertise, but as well to showcase and also to report, because again, this is a grant that was written for USDA NIFA, and they love to see this kind of feedback to show the results, right? Because that's the things you generate at the end of our interaction, the SOPs, the farm description, the map, whatever you create, we will probably ask you to have some sort of a copy of that, just so we have a couple of pieces to show, hey, here are the outcomes. Here are examples of outcomes that we got out of these farms. But then on top of that, having success stories to tell is also very, very strong. And in Extension, we usually like to do that. You might have had someone from Extension just ask you to give your feedback on some interaction you had before, because when our extensions put our yearly reports to everything good we have done within Extension, those are always very valuable as well. So a video, as an example for a feedback from this project, would serve so many levels, and all of them would kind of be positive. But because we know that might take you a little bit of extra of your time, again, we will have up to $100 of another thing to have, another tool to help you improve even further your food safety.
So how do you apply to be in the Jumpstart program? Like Hob explained, preference is given to medium-sized and smaller farms. But if we don't get enough of those, we will definitely consider farms fully covered. And as Hob also said, it's not like no one who's not in the program can talk to us. You know, you can always call us and ask questions and get help. But we can really spend the time, because we're funded by this grant for 3 years, to go out to your farm and give much more time to helping you with this overall food safety project. So again, you have to be located in Maine and New Hampshire, that's for sure.
Yeah, so you will receive, after we finish this, there's going to be time for questions, don't worry. We're going to receive a link for how to register for this. After we reach the 30 per state, that page will offer you instead a link to enter a waiting list. So if you're watching this recorded and you go there and there's just a waiting list, I would say still apply there, because maybe some people might drop, because this is a 3-year project. People might be applying now, 2022, and maybe when time comes to visit their farm, 23, 24, they don't have interest anymore. They solved all the problems they had. So we might have spots opening midway through. So even if you only can see the waiting list, you should still apply. And also, you never know, maybe you are on the waiting list, but you are the farm that is the neighbor of one farm that got into the program, and then maybe we can help you a little bit more than we would just through extension, because we are going to be in the region. Again, I would say like that's not an impossibility, but for the 30 farmers that get into the program after the application, we certainly are going to spend a little bit more time. But again, all of this interaction is going to be voluntary. If you do not want to receive a visit, that's fine. We'll do everything over phone, over Zoom, over email. You are going to get involved as much as you want. As Mary said, the outcomes of this will be as complex or simple as your farm or as you want. So maybe for some farmers, just writing a couple of SOPs is going to be what we can do over a year, because I know how farmers are busy, and that's okay. But if we really work together, and maybe after this 1 year, we have version 3.0 of your entire farm food safety plan, because we were able to make multiple versions and improve, and there was a constant back and forth, that is going to be okay as well. So we are going to work with you as much as you want.
All right, so now it's time for questions, and I'm gonna get out of the PowerPoint.
Yep, so feel free to unmute yourself to ask a question. You can type them on the chat. Oh, we have some there already.
Do you see that one, Hub? Jennifer? New teacher on a new school farm program. Is this a program we can utilize, or is another resource we can access? I think I could. I mean, are you in New Hampshire or Maine? Either way, that would be fine. Don't you think, Hub?
Yeah, do you guys have a farm at the school?
Maine, Freiburg. Ooh, that's
Okay.
one close. That's on the border.
Yeah. Well, I'm assuming if you guys are a farm school, you do have a farm. So if that farm for the school does not have a farm food safety plan or would like to improve it, I can even see that as a multiplier, right? We work with you and you guys will be multiplying that information. So I would say you definitely should apply. If you we'll go by first come, first served and based on size, but do mention there that you are a school program. Even if you don't work for this project, we might be able to work together on other things.
I'm putting into chat the links to the website and to the resource page, just so you'll have them. You'll also get these in the email we're going to send you after the webinar. But if you want, you might have already gone to it.
Yeah, I have a question for Raylene from Raylene. If selected to this program, would these red flag inspectors to come to the farm to check on you quicker than if you were not working as an applicant?
I'm so glad she asked that question.
Yes, and no. First, we are giving preference to small farms that are likely not to be fully covered. So, and at least here in Maine, they are only inspecting farms that are fully covered. So no, that's one reason there's not even a big overlap between the ones that will be for sure inspected and the ones that will not. And also, we are not going to share this information with anyone.
Can I jump in there? Because that's so important. I wanted to make sure, because I assume everyone knows about extension, but maybe you don't. If you don't, please understand, we're educators. We are not regulators, and we do not rat out anybody. We really want to work on food safety with you, and that's the only thing we're going to do. So thank you for that great question. Yeah.
Another one, how do you determine what year you work with a farm? So we ask you in the application process if you have a preference for a year, because we can see folks that want help right now, folks that knew that they will be working more extensively maybe next year, so they maybe prefer. Anyway, so we ask you first for your preference. So we are going to try to use your preference first, but if not, we are just going to put everyone in order of application, order of size, exclude the large ones, and then go trying to call one, hey, can we schedule with you? Can we schedule with you? And then like, if you say no, maybe next year. So we are going to kind of play by ear. If we have, before we start visiting, 30 people full, maybe we'll just randomize, just to be fair for people who go first. But based on the amount of people here, I'm expecting that we might have to be calling people every year to get the 10. So we will play by ear, but we ask a question on the application about your preference, and we will try to use that first, but you will receive help. And doesn't mean that if you end up participating on this on the 24th, that if you have any burning question before that you can't ask, and that you need to wait up until then to start working on this. We'll still give you support as we would anyway. But yes, so that's a very long-winded answer to like, it will depend a little bit. We'll play with multiple things, your preference, if we call you and accept, and all of that.
So this one, we have a small organic veg fruit farm doing wholesale and first farmers markets this year. We plan to design a specific processing facility with the aim of constructing in 2024. Can we work on the SOP for the facility and the farm, or should we choose one or the other? Is this so processing facility for you? Wow, good for you. That's two different things. So our part is farm food safety, not food processing. However, we do have Jason and Rob and me, but they're like more expert on food processing. So that's something, you know what, sign up and we'll have to see, right?
I would say apply. We'll with the project help you for sure hands-on on the produce side of things, but if we are there and you have questions about processing, of course we will help you, but you don't need to pick between one or the other. I think there's another one there. I understand that you have to limit the number of farmers you physically visit, but if we invited other similar farms to join us at our site for them to learn as well, would that be okay? Oh, that would be wonderful.
Super.
Like, yeah, super. So if the day we go to do the walk around and to check, we'll be looking at your farm. But if you know that you have neighbors that could learn from that experience, I would love that. Again, we have a limitation of the number, mostly because it's how much time we have at hand to do this. But anytime we can find on how to multiply this work is going to be more than welcome.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Oh, great questions.
Yeah, I think we answered. Did anyone type the question that we skipped by mistake by any chance? I don't think so. Okay, so what will happen now if you don't have any more questions?
Let's just, just wait a second, because sometimes people are typing. I know when I'm like at a webinar, it's like, I didn't get it. I didn't have time to write in my question. So you can certainly, if you can always unmute and just ask us right now. Oh, look at one new message. Let's see what that is. Yes, this was recorded, and we will send you the link.
Yeah, we'll after we finish, we are going to try to edit to make a shorter version. If we think it's so bad because we talk too much, we might re-record all the information, but there will be a link with all this information on the same website that she just shared with you, because that's going to be used as an advertisement for future people that want to participate on this.
Plus, we can send folks the link, right? People who attended today, right away, we're going to be able to send you the application link. But you know, once we get this downloaded, we could just send them the link to the video. And yes, as Hob said, the video will be on the website as well.
Yeah, so does this program apply to farmers operations that are primarily based around indoor vertical farming? Yes, any type of farming. So do apply based on the number of people we have here, all farms that are represented here today, unless, even if everyone here is only from one state, which I know is not the case, everyone should be able to get into the program, so please do apply. But yeah, any type of farming will be welcomed.